Hey folks. Well, I just woke from a dream and I had to draw it out on a piece of paper, and then I took a picture with my phone and then sent the file to Google image search. And actually, there's a whole bunch of these on there, and wow, it almost kind of looks like something of Olympic. And I heard the word congregation, congregation, and then it flashed imagery to a pool I used to swim at when I was a kid, and I used to do swimming lessons there, and sometimes just during the summer I'd just swim there. Yeah, so I was there, and I was going into the change room, and I did a right turn and then another right turn, and around the corner, it was that drummer guy from this other place that was close to the village I was renting back in 2011. And he did these amazing drum spiels. It was like, but it was like really jazzy. It was really awesome how he did it. It was like second nature to him. It was him. And it looks like somebody came in and brute force, like unbelievably brute force to the back of his legs, where his shin bones had busted through the skin, and he was knelt on those bones like a kickstand almost. And his face completely obliterated against the bench. So, like, pieces of his flesh were in between the boards, and then it flash transitioned to where I was renting back in 2011 inside the place, and I went into the kitchen, and it was that substitute art teacher for special needs. He was literally hanging limp by his face in the kitchen. It looked like he just looked like a rag doll on that thing. He was in alignment to the sink, and I went around carefully, and then I was by the stovetop, and the stovetop was I think it had some pots on it or something, like cast iron or something, and food, like it looked like he just finished cooking or something, and there's spatulas. So he was basically hanging by a gaping maw in his head on the edge of the kitchen countertop, and it's like part of his forehead and all of his eyes, all his sinus cavities, and it's his top of his jaw was completely missing. It was just his bottom jaw and the top of his forehead completely gaped out. He was just hanging by that space, and it was just like he was part of the kitchen countertop. I looked in the sink, and it looked like shaved ham, like shaved deli meat ham sort of thing. And oh gosh, wow. And then afterward, there was another transition, a flash transition. And I was walking down this residential driveway, and it was sort of like a hobby farmhouse, sort of. There was no barn. It just looked like a little tiny a shed and like a stable kind of setup in the backyard, sort of. But it was kind of like a stretch back, and the doors were open of the shed, and it looked like there was like a skill saw connected to an extension cord. It was yellow extension cord. It was a long one, and it was attached to the skill saw, so I guess there's somebody been woodworking. So I went closer, and then all of a sudden I could just see like two heels and some shoes, some running shoes type thing, and they were dangling. And I looked closer, and I was like, oh my god. And it was that Captain Obvious guy. He You know those Captain Obvious commercials for a hotel or stuff like that? He's dressed as a bellhop. He looked exactly like that character. A long red beard and the mustache built in with the beard. Anyway, he was hanging by some boards up on the rafters there, and the boards looked like it went right in both of his eyes, out the back of his skull, and he was literally hanging by the top of his crown by those boards, and the boards looked like they're jagged, like they were very, very sharp and pointy kind of sort of thing, and it just boom, right out the back of his head. He was just hanging by his crown. And all I heard was this one word, congregation. And I kind of woke up and I was like half asleep, and I'm like, oh gosh. I felt that same sensation of nausea, but mixed with butterflies. Pretty much. Yeah. I didn't eat much today. After that, food is just not attractive at all. Anywho, that's Dream Report.